Hello everyone, it's Nathan from RPS again. Today I'm going to be playing Quadrilateral Cowboy for you. It's a game about hacking, but not in the traditional game sense of it, which has always been kind of a weird thing. Like, for instance, in BioShock, where it was a series of pipe puzzles, and in Saints Row 4, where it was a different series of pipe puzzles. Games like to include hacking. It's kind of the trendy thing at this point, but it never really hits the nail on the head of what any of that's actually like. It's more of a magic bullet, a quick thing to do to take over like an enemy or a turret or something like that. Quadrilateral Cowboy, meanwhile, is more about using a very simplified form of code to do it. And the creator, Brendon Chung, has said that he sort of wants to show the power of code, to get you in this space where you understand what it feels like to type something in and just have something happen. And so that's kind of the basis of what the game is. And so now I'm going to show it to you. So this opening is very reminiscent of the previous game that Chung did, which is 30 Flights of Loving. And this is, interestingly, not at all like the rest of the game. I talked to him after I played this build for the first time, and he said that this was just sort of more to get people into the basics of playing the game. But yeah, so this is all very cinematic, and the rest of the game apparently really is not. But first we're going to do this, because it is a pretty cool opening. So yeah, here is just a basic train area. Another interesting thing about this, and something that Chung really wants to drive home with the game world, is that all this stuff, despite being just kind of meaningless, is interactable. So you can just pick up pretty much anything in the game environment and throw it around or do whatever. And there's not like a bunch of box puzzles in the game or anything. It's just about kind of bringing a sense of interactability to the world, making it very tangible. Same with doing stuff like hopping up here, things like that. And so yeah, again, this whole segment's kind of really simplified, and this little device that I'm using right now is, at least in the rest of the demo, not the thing that I really use. Also, obviously, there will probably be more sound in the final game. Ah, crap. That is not what I meant to do. Oopsie daisy, and here's what I was looking for.
Objective complete.
But yeah, so as you can see, cool graphical style, nice environment, not really much going on, though I could see this being used, something like this, for a pretty cool like train heist sequence or something, if that's how the final game ends up in any way, shape, or form. It's still very much in development, so you never know. But anyway, let's see.
Stopper.
And so the game will have little snippets of story and things like that. Stuff like this. So now we're back here at what sort of functions as the game's main base area. And as you can see, there are two other characters. And the way that story will be delivered is kind of in a very like open to interpretation form. So it's less like, dialogue and action, and more like, hey, what is the book that this character's reading, or what's sitting on the shelves over here? Like, various things, presumably about coding, and also other books that I can pick up and throw, do terrible things to. Also, this game currently has Half-Life Syndrome, so I can throw it at people, they won't care. Maybe in the future they will. Who knows? Haha. Now you'll never open it. Oh yeah, but this part is pretty neat, because here's what will ultimately become my main interface for the game. The thing that sort of gives me access to various levels and things, but right now it's not assembled. So let's see. Here's a thing. It goes into my computer. This opens up. And so what you end up doing is building your machine, which again, going with that whole sort of power of code and computing motif, this is where it all begins. This is when you first interact with your machine in a significant way. And for a lot of people who have built PCs themselves, it makes it a much more personal thing. It's no longer just about having this box of circuits in your room. It's this thing that you crafted. It is inherently yours. And while this is a very automatic process in the game, it's still a pretty neat thing to acknowledge. Also, it's all very retro-styled because of the whole retro cyberpunk thing that it's going for. Yeah, those are all the various parts. Ta-da! It is complete. And people are just staring at me. That's pretty weird. Yeah. Anyway. And so this is kind of my, Neuromancer-esque virtual reality interface. Because the actual plot of the game is not that you're playing as some sort of, elite secret agent person. Rather, what you're doing is you are playing through simulations of what actual elite secret agent people will ultimately do. And you're just sort of plotting out the route and what they'll need to do when they're in the field. Because in reality, you're a character who's kind of, not cut out for that side of it. You're less physically capable, you can't fight, or any of that. So you do the simulation because, you've got the mind for it, but not the body. So now it's time for a tutorial. And it's a pretty cool tutorial, because yeah, it looked like a menu, but we're actually in this crazy world. Let's see. Huh. I actually hadn't seen this before. This is new. Or if not new, then something I never clicked on. This is not at all indicative of what the game's usually like. Guess those are line of sight indicators? I have no idea. Oh god. They're slowly driving toward me. That can only mean one thing. Certain doom. Victory! Yeah, okay. Not really sure what that was. Oh, I see. And then, of course, Heist Planner 2.0. In a game about planning heists, I'm going to go ahead and assume is the thing we need to be doing. It's a fun little Easter egg, though. And again, like, kind of indicative of just how much thought went into this game, and is still going into it. So lots of little things to discover. And so this is just kind of giving a basic rundown of how the actual mechanics of the game work. So this is my deck, and the deck is pretty much my best friend. It allows me to do any and all things of real consequence. So for instance, there's a door over there. It is currently entirely locked. Can't do anything about it. Button does nothing. It's a satisfying button, though. I'm just going to press it for a few moments, because, I mean, listen to that click. That is beautiful. Anyway. But if I just open this up, and there's a handy manual that sort of helps me. Even this is still a puzzle, so they ink blotted out some stuff and drew over some other little bits. But, you know, it should still be semi-self-explanatory, so we need the command list. Help. Let's see. Possible things. So, the demo mission, the thing that I'm doing right now, the thing that I'm trying to access is telnet. I'm terrible at typing on this keyboard. Let's see. And so I'm on telnet, and then manage to connect. So what are my commands on here? Telnet command list. dir, that would be directory. That'll probably help. These are the things that are on this network. For instance, as you see, door number 5, door number 5. So, if we want to get through that, door 5 dot open. Never mind. My ability to play this game is atrophied. Let's see. Oh, I'm an idiot. Unknown function. Oh, and so, if you mess up enough times, which I just did, because it's been a little bit since I played this demo, then the game kind of eases you in the right direction. So, it wanted a time amount, which I handily forgot, on purpose, to show you how the game works, not at all because I have an incredibly short memory, and so within a span of weeks I can forget crucial information about how to play a game. But yeah, so it's amount of time. And that's in seconds. So you do that, it opens up, pick up your deck, and go through. That was that one. So now there's a different puzzle. And this one is more about using the time mechanic. The time mechanic's actually really crucial. It's not just like an arbitrary, oh, please, enter an amount of time thing, because whatever. Things like lasers only, they can only stay off for a certain amount of time before it triggers an alarm, which you see up there. And so you've got to be careful, because if I tell it to stay off for, say, 10 seconds, it'll know it's been hacked and sound the alarm. So it's all about doing it in just enough time that I can get through the laser field, but not so much that I'm detected. So in this particular case, 3 is the max amount. Now, the last time I played, I had some trouble with this one because I couldn't quite run up in time. But that's also another mechanic that's in the game to deal with that, is you can also just hit right-click to confirm the function instead of doing enter and then right-click to pick it up. So, it's in. Lasers are off. I'm still going to get caught because I didn't move quite quickly enough. Yeah. Laser 3 dot off. Wait, yeah. Dot off 3. And ta-da. Successfully completed. And so now we can do Heist Planner version 0.3. Let's do it. So now we are back in what is our lair, and that's kind of adorable. They have duck feet. Why not? Heist Planner, just in time debugging. So now we're in yet a different iteration of this. Once again, no real reason for any of this, but just tons of stuff to mess around with and read and look at for amusement. And it's all very detailed. Gravity booties, resistant to falling damage up to 7,000 meters. Otis eyes, high performance ocular implants. Just press Z. Okay. And so also it serves as a little mini tutorial for functions that you may not have otherwise discovered in the game. That's pretty neat. And a bunch of ramen. Cattle flavor. That's an interesting way of saying steak. Spinal crackers. Cerebrospinal saltines. The retro future is a strange place. Typing mittens. That's weirdly similar to stuff that actually exists. For instance, glasses that somehow enhance your ability to see computer screens. Anyway, I should probably play the game, but I'm going to throw this plant. And again, insert the disc. It's a bunch of little tangible things. It doesn't change how challenging or whatever the game is, but it just makes the world feel a lot more like you're there. And all the little sound effects and things really add to that. It's a nice touch. Yeah, so first mission. Oh, and yeah, it says scroll to select deck. So you have an inventory, and the implication, of course, is that there are going to be a lot more items in the final game. The main ones that I've gotten to use in this demo so far, and it'll continue to be this way, are the deck. So yeah, let's see. Well, first we need to connect to the network it's on. Still telnet. Alright. Door 3 to open. And we're in there. So yeah, we are trying to get into this big place. In this cool blimp-filled city. Cities don't have enough blimps anymore. That really disappoints me about the modern world. Not anything else. Mainly that. So yeah, just some basic first-person climbing stuff. The game is mostly puzzle solving, though I was told that, at least right now, developer Brendon Chung is trying to put in kind of a puzzle involving some sort of more action-oriented thing, like maybe gun emplacements, things like that. But for now, it's very much just solving puzzles in a more basic sense. So I'm going to throw it on my deck. I'm glad that it's very durable, because I don't think most computers would do well if I just threw them at the ground like that. Telnet, which we're already on. Great 4. So yeah, we're sneaking into the grate. One of this game's big inspirations are, like, you know, old school Looking Glass style games. So things with a lot of various approaches to puzzles, and of course, if we're gonna have a game with a lot of cyberpunk in it, it's kind of hard to avoid being influenced by Deus Ex. So we're in some vents, because of course we're in some vents. By Rickerman Automatic Security, and yeah, stays off longer than 3 seconds, triggers an alarm. So I don't want to do that. And so these are all very basic puzzles so far, just utilizing one command. Nothing too huge. Wow, I fucked that up somehow. I was not paying attention at all to what I was typing, because I was instead talking at you, hypothetical viewer. So you just ruined this game for me. Thank you. Yeah, so we just go through here. And get a door code. 0903. So that was once again just another introduction to a more complex puzzle. Because see, now that tube that the code is going to come through is guarded by lasers. And if we don't disable those, it'll just set off the alarm, and I won't get the code. So in this particular puzzle, it's about timing. I still need to disable the lasers, and I still only have 3 seconds to do it. So I need to set it to go off roughly when the little tube's coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-enter the command. Off, parentheses 3. Then I'm actually going to leave my machine for a moment. Tell the thing to start going. Watch it go up and through the loop, around, and perfect. Two 763. Excellent. And so yeah, now we're at one of the first big changes in mechanics, or one of the first big additions to the basics, which is a semicolon. That allows multiple commands to happen simultaneously. And as you can see, there are now multiple lasers to deal with to take advantage of that. Let's go ahead and toss this down like always. It's going to be coming through first laser 19, then laser 20. And I'm going to go ahead and assume, though I don't see an indicator of it, that they'll probably be triggered if I make them last for longer than 3. So 19 dot off 20 dot off 3. Now I'm fairly sure that 3 is enough for it to get through both, but I suppose we'll see. Around the quarter. Perfect. 5, 8, 1, 2. I really like the tiny little valves. That I'm not sure who would build a door that way, but I applaud them. You can never have enough valves, or blimps or anything. It's kind of a weirdly confused sci-fi setting in that way, because those are definitely steampunky things. Nuclear option. Yeoman, Wunderbar. And so yeah, here's my objective. It's a contract. You can tell because it says contract on it. Also, it's in a room that just for some reason has these little birds. They're great. I like them a lot. I'm not sure why they're here at all, but, you know, they're nice. I can't hack them. I can hack anything else in this world, but birds are untouchable. That's probably symbolism. And that's a cool device.
Objective complete.
So yes, we've photographed the thing. That tells us how to clamber. It's very important. Let's clamber. And that's mission 1.
Job done.
So there's that. Huh. So this contains a few missions, but that's deceptive because the second real mission up there is just a different take on the first. Oh my god, can I break this open? No, they're just different sizes. Oh well. I'm being very easily distracted today, I apologize. So let's do the next mission. Wait, this is... damn it. So let's see. Photograph the contract, which we already did. Here we go. So let's do the first real mission, the waiting game, which is a more advanced introduction to the wait mechanics. So we're in. Obviously not very difficult. And so yeah, now this is about using that semicolon to add a wait between multiple commands. Because obviously, if we were to do a 3-second wait, or a 3-second time on each of these lasers, one of them would probably come back on before I reach the end of that run. So what I need to do here is set off essentially a chain of dominoes. First I need to have the door open, then that laser grid go off, then that one. Sounds simple, little harder than it sounds because I've definitely managed to fuck these up before, but we will see. So, door 1 dot. And so, as I said way back at the beginning of this video, the code's very simple, but it's still kind of reminiscent of actual code. It's a thing and then a command, and it becomes more and more complex as time goes on. The first time I played this, it took me a little bit longer to pick up the nuances of everything, even though this is still, very early and basic stuff. But it is pretty neat. I mean, it's neat to be able to control the environment to this extent, and, to do it via just this little interface. It's certainly not anything close to actual coding, but it does provide that feeling of empowerment in a very different way than a lot of games where you're just shooting a dude or whatever. In this case, you are doing essentially what someone who's actually coding does, which is they use their trade code to take control of the game world and reshape it as they see fit. And that's pretty neat. Also, I forgot to add an extra one there. That would have been very embarrassing. Anyway, let's have that open for a few seconds. We don't really need a wait yet, so we're just going to tell the laser to go off at the same time. Laser 41 dot off 3, and then we're going to add the wait. So we want enough time to get through the first laser. So probably 2. That might not be enough, but we'll see. And then laser 42 dot off for 3. Hopefully this works. We'll see. Damn it! Waited too long and triggered the laser. Fortunately, the game's still going to let me progress. But you get the idea. If I had made it wait less, then it would have worked better. On this, toss that down, hook the phone up to it very awkwardly.
Objective complete.
Anyway. Let's see, let's go ahead and pick it up. And this is a thing that I sort of wasn't in love with the first time I played this demo, and I'm still not. Have to backtrack a little bit. There's no easy, clamber up route out of here, which, I mean, might even be able to make sense in the context of the level design. You could just clamber out and then go to the other skylight and then go down. But instead, I'm going to have to rehack all this stuff just in reverse, which I guess, helps drive home how the mechanics would work and reframes the puzzle a little bit, but it's just I already got it. I don't really feel the need to do this again, even if I did technically fail. Shut up. Laser 41 dot off 3. Wait, another one. Door 11 dot open 3. Perfect. And so this second puzzle is basically the same thing. And I mean, really think I'm just going to stop doing this one there, because that's the full extent of it. It's not anything particularly crazy or interesting anymore, and this video has probably gone on long enough. You get the idea. I'm going to jump out really fast, though. I'm not sure if I can access the next mission if I haven't actually finished this one. But let's just hop over to that and see anyway. If not, I'll just explain it, because it really doesn't. Okay, I can jump into it. So, you may have noticed very quickly that that one was a really high price for finishing. That's because, and I may not even be able to explain this mission before I fail it, I have 60 seconds. As you might notice, this is the same mission as before. That's because the challenge on this one is to complete that last mission in 60 seconds. So basically to do all of that in a single quick go. And it's more or less impossible. This is not at all indicative of how the rest of the game will turn out. Yeah, I know. It's just like a test level that the developer built, but it's kind of crazy because it is technically possible. You just need to enter one giant chain of commands that's perfect. So basically, I would like start with the skylight opening, and it would just open for me, and the door would open for me at the exact right time, as with the lasers, and everything would progress perfectly. It's total madness, but it's kind of like a cool demonstration of what's possible with these mechanics. And so yeah, that's just one crazy example of something that really skilled players could pull off. More in line with where the game goes, however, is like I've played another version of the game where there's a little robot that you can control remotely. So say there's a room you can't get into that you have to fish the robot into, or that it's already inside of. And with that, you enter commands for the robot, and you like tell it which, you give it degrees to move in and patterns like that. So you tell it to turn like 45 degrees or 90 degrees and then move forward, and it'll take a big hopping motion, so it's not necessarily precise, and you've got to calculate for all of that and then have it go remotely hack into things and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Those are the main items that I know of, but I'm sure there are going to be plenty of others. And so yeah, at this point the game's not done. The creator says he wants to have it out either late this year or sometime next, but he's not entirely sure yet, and that's just how it goes. It's a very ambitious game. It's all being put together, well, largely being put together by one person. Soundtrack's being done by Chris Remo of Double Fine and many other things fame, I believe. But yeah, so that's Quadrilateral Cowboy. A mouthful. Also a game. And it's definitely coming along very nicely. I can't wait to see where it goes. And yeah, that's all. So this is me signing off, or whatever other cheesy ending line you'd like.